Hello readers, my name is Greg and this is Ghost Riders in the Sky, where I start with the literature and history of the American West and then gallop off in whatever direction I feel like. This is my roundup of week number 2 of June on the Range, a great event focused on reading Westerns throughout the month of June, created by Michael K. Vaughan. I am lucky enough to be one of the co-hosts this year. I'll list the other co-hosts below. As far as novels go, I just read one, or I completed one this week. I have some others on the go. But I finished Burning Daylight by Jack London, a book that came out in 1910. It was less of a Western than I thought it was going to be. It starts off as a Klondike adventure story about a guy who is nicknamed Burning Daylight because that's what he always says. Hey, we got to get to work. We're burning daylight. And that name just stuck. Daylight starts off, doing mail runs with dog sleds, and there's a lot of survival early on. He also is a big gambler, and he enjoys the gambling itself more than the winnings. He's not afraid to put everything on the line just so that he can play the game. He's always looking for reasons to take risks and win big. And he knows there's going to be a gold strike in the Yukon sometime soon. And so he works with the men who are starting to plot out Dawson City, which did end up being the main city near that first Klondike gold strike. He buys up a lot of land in the town. Buys up a lot of land that could be part of the claims and the strikes. And he also starts building, or is prepared to build, and eventually does start building a lot of the industry in Dawson City, sawmills and things like that help produce the things that the miners will need. He sells off a lot of land. And of course the land is quite expensive after gold is found, so he buys it pretty cheaply or stakes it pretty cheaply, and then is able to sell it for a huge profit. And then the second part of the book, he goes down to the States, starts in San Francisco and decides he can do something very similar in the States. He goes to New York City, to Wall Street, loses a lot of money, but he's in it for the game. And as the novel progresses, he feels like that he's doing this as a robber baron who's robbing the other robber barons. Robbers robbing the robbers. But he starts to realize how the things that he's doing affect regular working people, and begins to make some changes in how he goes about things. It's a fascinating study of a man who really grows in character. We see this over 30 years, and how he changes from a young man of 17 or 18 in the Klondike, brash and bold and a big risk taker, and how that changes, especially as he meets a woman and falls in love, and how that changes him. It's a great book. It did not turn out to be a Western. It certainly is an adventure story. It certainly has the empire building facet that you see in Westerns sometimes, but it's a stretch to call it a Western. It still is a great book. I'm still very glad I read it. I knew it was stretching the idea of a Western, but it stretched it further than I expected. In poetry this week, I read for Poetry Thursday a poem by Rhoda, Sivell, They Keep Us Stealing on You in the Night. A fairly short poem, but about how those thoughts sneak up on you and how they only come at night, and how you can use that to make your life better. Really nice poem, a powerful poem. Rhoda Sivell was a Canadian, known as the first Canadian cowboy poet. Sivell was a working rancher. She and her husband had a ranch near Medicine Hat, Alberta, and they ran that for most of their married life. So she had the cowboying range cattle experience, and I think there's just one volume of poems that she wrote, but they are certainly well known and recited often at cowboy poetry gatherings. That's in my cowboy poetry playlist if you want to take a look at that. Finally, I watched another B Western starring John Wayne called Santa Fe Stampede. This features the Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers were created by the novelist William Colt MacDonald. He wrote quite a few novels and short stories about them. Republic Pictures got the rights to do the films. This particular film, Santa Fe Stampede, was filmed in 1938. It was one of 51 Three Musketeers films the Republic did, all B Westerns. They went from the mid-30s up until the early 50s, 51 altogether. John Wayne appeared in 8 of them. One of the more interesting side notes is that this was in 38 and 39. That's when John Ford got John Wayne to star in Stagecoach, which really changed everything for John Wayne. He moved out of the B Westerns and into feature films and really became the actor that most of us think of when we think of John Wayne. But he had a contract with Republic Pictures that at that point he had turned into a big star, and he probably could have gotten out of that contract had he wanted to, but he didn't. He went and finished, even after Stagecoach, he finished his contract and did a few more B Westerns for the Three Musketeers series. In this one, the Musketeers go to visit a friend of theirs who has a mine on his land, but the evil mayor from town, in cahoots with the sheriff and the justice of the peace and a whole bunch of others. It's a corrupt town story, and they're trying to take the mine away, and a lot of bad things happen. The three of them, well, they help clean up the town, help get the mine back to its rightful owners. A lot of good action, a lot of really good action, stunts overseen by the great Yakima Canutt. That was a fun film. I think it's, of the B Westerns that I've watched this June on the Range, I think that is my favorite so far. Hondo is still my favorite film. We'll see how it all comes together. And that's it, a short but sweet roundup of June on the range for week 2. We got a couple more weeks of June on the range, and we'll just keep on it going. So until next time, my name is Greg. This is Ghost Readers in the Sky. And keep on doing whatever works for you.